When you have a Kundalini awakening, it can impact relationships. This was one of the first things that I learned after I had my Kundalini awakening. I started reading about it online, and there was a lot of information actually talking negatively about how it can break up marriages, relationships, families, and I'm sure in a lot of cases it maybe does. But I also want to say that that is not always the case, and it wasn't for me. Now, I'm years down the line, and so I know now who I have in my life, what relationships I have, and where they're at after the Kundalini awakening. But I have to say that I stopped reading a lot of the stuff online about Kundalini awakenings because so much of it was quite negative. And for some people it can be quite traumatic, depending on what their life is like before they've had their awakening. So if you have friendships, relationships with people where it's in a good place already and it's a healthy relationship before you've had your Kundalini awakening, then the Kundalini awakening is not going to impact it. Because what the Kundalini awakening is doing is it's helping you to get rid of the things in your life that are not good for you, whether that's relationships, work, or habits, hobbies. And so if you've got those good relationships, there's no need for Kundalini to do any damage to it. And what I found is that actually, my friendships, my relationship with my family, they actually got stronger after my Kundalini awakening. So as part of my awakening, I have mentioned it previously, is that I had a spontaneous attunement to Reiki energy as well. And so I started doing healing work at the same time as my awakening. And part of the program, because I went through the official attunement as well, was to practice on friends, family, and things as case studies. And by doing that, I was spending more time with my friends and family, which I wouldn't have done if I hadn't have had the awakening. And I began to open up to them more about things. I felt like the Kundalini awakening helped me communicate my honest feelings and truths more. And so where I was shy to speak up about things that I'm actually interested in, I found that the Kundalini awakening helped me to begin to express myself more, to be myself, to not worry about what people might think. And I've realized that my friends support me and my family support me, even when I talk about Kundalini stuff. And I was so scared to bring it up with them because I didn't come from a spiritual or religious background, and my friends didn't really either. And so it's not a conversation or the type of topic that we would normally talk about. And so for me to bring that up and be like, this happened to me, I had no idea how they were going to react. And they were all so understanding. Like, my friends have really been there for me. They supported me through the Reiki, and we now spend so much more time out and about and doing things together. And it's just, I feel so happy and grateful to have them in my life. I actually lived in Japan for 8 years in my 20s and lost touch with my friends and family quite a bit. Of course, like, I still kept in touch, but there was this distance there. And it took a long time, even when I returned back to the UK, to get that kind of friendship and connection back with my family and my friends. And it's taken a while, and I feel like I'm in a really good place now. I feel like the awakening's really, really helped it, and I don't ever want to lose them. And my family, so my parents, they have been super accepting as well. Like, again, religion and like spirituality isn't something that we would talk about like ever. And I was really like, oh, if I bring this up, what are they going to think about me? Like, what will they think I'm losing the plot? But they were so incredibly supportive. So when I had my spontaneous attunement at the same time, I was explaining to my mum what happened with the Kundalini awakening and the fact that I can now channel energy. And she let me practice on her, and it was the most wonderful experience because so I had only tried once before, with my Reiki master, like the person that I went to receive Reiki for years before this happened. And I was trying it for the first time with someone that has never experienced energy work. So my mum sat down just on the sofa, and I just put my hand on the crown of her head and just rested it there. And I felt my hand heat up. My mum felt the heat, and I was doing that energetic breathing that I do. And then I felt, after a little bit of time, my hand went cold. And my mum felt it go cold at the same time. I was like, oh my gosh, like it actually worked. Like, this is real. I don't know how I'm doing it, but this is real. And my mum, since then, since that day, I've continued to give her Reiki, and it's just so nice to be able to connect in that way. I also felt like, for the first time, it's almost like feeling someone's soul. And I know that might sound strange. So not every Reiki practitioner will feel this way. It depends on our individual way of feeling energy or what our beliefs are with Reiki. And I believe that the Reiki energy, like the source, is the same as Kundalini. That's my own personal opinion. So the reason I say that is because it feels the same to me. While I was a client of Reiki, when I had the awakening, and then when I had the spontaneous attunement, and then when I officially got attuned to Reiki, they all felt the same to me. And I might go into that a little bit more in other videos. But when I channeled with my mum for the first time, it was like I was connecting with her and felt her, like how loving and gentle like her energy is. And it was just so nice to connect in a way that I've never connected to her before. And they say that Reiki is not our energy, but I do have differing feelings on that. So I do believe that the healing energy, like we do connect to a source energy out with ourselves. And that links into how people sometimes feel extra pair of hands helping them, or they actually see spirits in the room, things like that. I believe in that, and there was actually a scientific study done on that by a company called Ions. But I also believe that it's not necessarily just an external energy. I do believe it's our higher self. So our soul that is also taking part in the channeling. I'm trying to think how I got onto that topic. I was talking about how my relationships have improved with my family and how connected I felt to with my mum and feeling her energy in a different way. And then my dad also supported me with the case studies and being able to talk openly about the fact that I now believe in spirits, or like I can feel cold air around me, or these topics that I'm talking about on here, the fact that I can even have that conversation with friends and family and that they don't judge me is such a wonderful feeling. And I was so lucky because I didn't lose anyone, touch wood. They all stayed and supported me, but I will say that I have been very careful over my time, like with friends and things, to hang around with people that have the same values and things as me and the same hobbies as me. So it is unlikely that I was going to have friends that weren't good for me, for example, but that's just the way that I was brought up and the way that I am. But there are many people out there who do have relationships with people that are maybe toxic or not nice to them and things. And those are the types of relationships that will struggle after having a Kundalini awakening. So if you are actively seeking a Kundalini awakening, I would say that's one thing to bear in mind, is that it's not a guarantee, but there is a chance that your relationships might be impacted in a not great way, but it's actually great for you because it's working in your own best interest. Or it might actually solidify the relationships that you already have with people. But yeah, have a think about it. If you are interested in having a Kundalini awakening, do reach out to me. But do think carefully about your relationships and if there is a chance that some of them might be impacted, because you get to a point where it's not a case of, oh, I understand that this relationship's not great for me, but I'm just going to ignore that toxic feeling and just carry on. The Kundalini awakening ensures that you cannot tolerate it anymore. So you need to make a decision. If you are having an awakening and you're choosing to have an awakening, that you're aware that that is a possibility. But when it's spontaneous, you don't have a choice. It just happens. Don't believe everything that you read online, like negative, bad, or scary news always gets to the front of algorithms more than the positive side of things. So you're going to hear all the scary stories before you hear the ones where those things didn't happen. And so you're seeing perhaps a small percentage of those cases. Whereas actually, a Kundalini awakening can be one of the most incredible experiences that you have, and it doesn't need to be negative if you go into it prepared and knowing what to expect and having support networks there for you. Let me know what happened with you if you've had an awakening, or if you would like to have an awakening. And I will catch you on the next video. Thank you.